Hey everybody, I'm John. I collect cards. It's Monday night, July 24th. It's National Week. Dealers, I'm sure, are there, or if they haven't finished setting up their tables and booths, I'm sure they'll be finishing that up, getting them ready tomorrow. Um, I know the show kicks off Wednesday. For a short kind of VIP session, and then it really gets underway in earnest on Thursday. I'll be there Thursday morning through Saturday afternoon. And one part of my first national will be making a 12 card submission to SGC. I think last week SGC announced that they were doing, in addition to on show or at the show grading for, I believe, 35 a card, they were also doing a special for $15 a card that they would take with them and then ship back in 5 to 10 days, which is a pretty good deal, considering the size of the subs I usually do are anywhere in the 5 to I did 15 once, so basically I'm doing 22 or 20 a card. So to do it 15 a card and to not have to ship and deal with the insurance on top of that one way, pretty good deal, hard to pass up. So I'm going to be submitting 12 cards to SGC, and I'm actually going to go run through them here real quick as I can. Starting with the oldest. I usually, when I do these kind of like submission videos, I tend to share the cards that I'm about to submit, and then I do a reveal video when they come back. And usually I go in reverse chronological from newest to oldest, but doing it the other way this time. We're going to start with the oldest this time. And I've got three 1954 Topps cards that I'm going to share, starting with card number 3 in the set, Monte Irvin. I'm trying to get all the Hall of Famers slabbed in my full set for 54 Topps. I've got about 10 to go, I believe. I did a count yesterday, actually, and so I'm doing 3 for this sub, starting with Monte Irvin, Hall of Fame outfielder for the Giants in the latter half of his professional career and his major league career. I'm hoping this will come back a 4, as it's a pretty nice centered card. The main issue it's got going on with it is down here, a little bit of lift on the paper there, but beyond that, it's a pretty nice card indeed. The corners are nice. So, it's off center a little on the back. There's that lift on the paper there. So and it is a pretty big issue there, but I think this is better than a 3. So at least I'm hoping for a 4 on this one. I think it's got a good chance. And that would be a nice way to get the sub started. I'm just going to go one at a time, take them off camera as I go. Next up is going to be my Duke Snyder, which I actually showed in my last video, actually. It's about time to get this in a slab. So the corners on the bottom of this are, as you can see, are pretty rounded, but the centering's good on this card. If it's a good day, maybe a 4 is a possibility because the centering is pretty good. So we'll see. I'm guessing, honestly, I'm going to call a 3.5 on this card. 3.5 is going to be my call on it. We'll see if SGC agrees with me there. It's got a little, that corner is pretty gnarly, but again, presents quite well. Top half of the card's pretty nice, except for that blue fisheye right there where my thumb is. But a nice card overall. Love the green backgrounds on this. Cool shot of the Duke. Great card. So hoping for a 4. We'll see what they can do for me. And the last card for my 54 part of the submission is going to be Hoyt Wilhelm. This was one of the first cards I actually purchased from the 54 set. I got it at my LCS at a time when I was nowhere close to thinking I was going to do this set. I just thought it was a really cool card, and it's from the Giants World Series winning year in New York, in that golden age where they went to the 51 series, of course, as well, and lost to the Yankees after a shot heard around the world. But my dad, my grandfather were New York Giants fans, and so I gravitated toward this card one day when I was getting back in the hobby in 2020. And before you know it, a few weeks later, I was picking away at singles on eBay. So I was off and running and just kind of fell in love with the set, which I have said in the past. And this was one of the first cards that did it. This one, as you can see, is a little off center, actually more than a little, to the right and toward the top. So it's kind of off center 2 ways. The corners are pretty okay. This corner down here has got a little bit of like dirt or smudge going on with it as well. I don't know if it's like a printer thing or if it's dirt. Don't know what exactly, if it's like ink or dirt. Here's the back. Hoping also for a 4 on this one at the least. The centering, if it wasn't off center two ways, I'd really be hoping for a 5 on it, but I think a 5 is probably a long shot. If it comes back a 5, which I don't think is an impossibility, but if it comes back a 5, I'll be pretty happy. But I'm thinking maybe a 4, 4.5 for that one. So as you can see, most of the grades I'm hoping for on these will be mid-range. There are a couple that I'm hoping for more like a 6 or even possibly 7 for one in particular. But in the end, these are all, that's usually my sweet spot, anywhere from 4s to maybe the occasional 7 I aim for. Next card up is one of 3 vintage rookies I'm sharing in this sub. I think it's 3 total. 3 vintage rookies total, starting with 1955 Ken Boyer. Picked this up a couple of months ago, 2-3 months ago, with the intention of grading it. I'll get that little fuzz thing out of the card saver after the video, but he's got I think he's got a shot at a whatever the Golden Era Committee or whatever Veterans Committee it is that does where Ken falls under now. I think he's got a shot to get in the next time that committee comes up, because several of his contemporaries got in last time, including Minnie Minoso, Gil Hodges, and Jim Cott, I believe. So, there's only a finite amount of them, obviously, and Boyer, gets votes in that group, but not a lot. And I wonder, now that Scott Rowland just got into the Hall of Fame yesterday, congratulations, Scott Rowland, on that. I wonder if Ken Boyer is going to get another look. And that was one reason why I went out and got this card. Centering's pretty nice, a little off center left. Top bottom's quite good. Corners are overall good. There are a little bit of corner wear there, a little bit there, but not much. So a 5 would be great. I think we might end up with another 4 on this one, just because I think those corners have just enough wear on them that I think a 5 is going to be tough. But I would love a 5. I'd be really happy with that. And we'll see what SGC will do for me there. Next up is a card I also just showed most recently. 1957 Topps Dodgers Sluggers. Just a, kind of an all-timer in the hobby for this, golden age, 50s, 60s of vintage. It's, 4 boys of summer right here. The photo is just great. The centering on this particular card is great. The main issue with this is that it's got a crease or a big wrinkle, because it doesn't go through on the back, but you could see it right here, right, kind of going all the way up Gil there. So that's unfortunate, but and I got it in my LCS. I pointed it out to the guy who runs the baseball card part of that store. It's mostly a coin shop, actually, and I can't remember. I think he may not have noticed it, actually. Honest mistake. Totally fine. And he gave me a good deal on it as a result. So I'm hoping that maybe this can come back a 3 if it's, if I'm lucky. So as you can see, the crease really doesn't go through there. So, maybe it's just a big wrinkle. Not sure exactly what the definition is there, but it certainly looks like a crease on the front. I'm going to say probably more like a 2.5 on this. So we'll see what SGC thinks, but overall, I'm just really excited to get it slabbed. I think it's going to look awesome at a slab in a tux. So that card deserves to be in a tux. We're going to stay with the Dodgers and stay with one of those sluggers we just saw. I'm going to get this card graded. 1960 Gil Hodges. I picked this up at a card shop. I won't say LCS. I got it at a card shop in Grand Rapids, which is an hour away from me. And when I got it and paid for it, I was out of just the regular kind of, big boxes they had out. It wasn't in a case. And when I got it, and I think I paid $15 for it, maybe 12 or 15, something like that. The guy looked at it pretty closely and said, "Oh, you should get this graded." And so I said, "Oh, maybe I will." That was about 2 years ago, probably. And here we are. I am going to send this in now. It is a pretty nice example. This is one of the a couple of examples of my sub here that I'm hoping maybe can come back a 6. I'll be happy for a 6 on this, and at least a 5. I think a 5 is I'm never going to say a shoe in on anything in case I'm just missing something entirely, but a 6 would be great on this one, and that's what I'm hoping for. So we'll see what they do for me on that. 1961 is next. I got 2 cards from this set, starting with this Yogi Berra AL MVP. This is another card I picked up a couple, 2.5 years ago now, I'd say, and it's just been kind of in my stash of vintages by year that I have that are just in top loaders or card savers. And I pulled this out, looked at it recently. I'm like, you know what? I want to get this Yogi graded. I got his 54 graded already, but I want to get another one graded of his. It's in pretty nice shape. It's got, the red is faded a little bit. The color is not like super like flush red as it should probably, and it's got some black print snow on it, as you can see, a couple of fish eyes, but the centering is pretty nice. The corners are pretty nice. I'm really hoping that this can pull out a 5. Just a cool picture. I like this MVP subset they did in 1961. I think it's really cool. I happen to have a Roy Campanella from the NL side with the blue background that I just happened to buy, not randomly, but for whatever reason I bought it like 2.5 years ago, back in probably 2020. Bought that in a PSA slab, and I think it was 5.5. So it'd be nice to have a red one slabbed up too, and this is the card to do it with. So we'll see what Yogi can do for me there. And the other 1961 Topps card is a player I've not really talked about much on this channel, just for coincidence. It's a second-year card. I really like this example. Willie McCovey. This would be a wonderful example, a downright great example, if it didn't have this right there near his face, pretty much it's on his face or just off. It's like a scratch on the card, and most likely because of that, I got a pretty nice deal on this. I paid out the door, I looked it up recently on eBay, out the door, I paid less than $20 for this card, and I think my winning bid was like 14 something. It's a second-year Willie McCovey card. It's also, I don't know what the exact definitions of the high numbers are in the 61, but it's over 500, so it probably is considered a high number. It's a pretty nice card. Corners are nice on this. Centering's also pretty good. It's a little bit off center left, but not too much to really push it. I mean, it's like nothing. I don't think it's going to contribute any less to the grade more than what the scratch is already going to do. So love to get a 5 on this. My last sub to SGC, I subbed a 59 Stan Musial that had like 2 scratches in it, and I thought like it was probably going to be a 4 maybe, and it came back a 5. So that was a pleasant surprise, and I hope this one could be a 5 as well. I could see it coming back a 4, 4.5 though, because of where it is. It's right near his face, but we'll see. Looking forward to getting this one graded. It's kind of been on my mind. I'd say it has just missed the cut of like my last sub or 2, but it's going out this time. All right, we've got 4 more to go here, and I'll try to go through them pretty quickly. 1964 Topps Lou Piniella rookie. This is the Topps Venezuelan issue. I showed this card on one other video. So the reason why I really liked this card, so it's my only Venezuelan. I wanted to pick up one just to have. And I think Lou is another one like Ken Boyer who could have a shot at the Hall of Fame. And his committee actually comes up this year, this December, at the winter meetings. The committee members for the managers, executives, and I can't remember the other, but it's that category of those in baseball. So Piniella could go in as a manager, is what I'm kind of thinking is a possibility. Is it a guarantee? Of course not. Is it possible? Yeah, it is possible, I think. So we'll see. Once they reshuffled the committees and stuff, I think he's got a couple of years ago. Yeah, he's in this new category, and I think he's got a chance. So I picked this one up. The back of it is the problem. It's got the like kind of scrapbook paper still on here, glue, which I wasn't even going to think about trying to remove. That's just not my thing to try to take this off. I'm sure I would completely bomb the card, mess it up completely. So was not going to go there. The reason I got this particular one is because there are a lot of examples where the scrapbook paper or just putting it on a wall or whatever is a lot worse. So actually the amount of paper and glue is not too terrible on this one. But it also has a couple of creases here. You can see one right here. And that's really the worst one, actually. So I'm hoping, my thought is it'll come back a 2. I hope it comes back a 2.5, but I think it'll probably be a 2. And that's okay. The Topps Venezuelan rookie with the black color back rather than the orange. And what I really liked about it as well was the color on the front. You look at Topps Venezuelans and the fading on the paper is really significant. The quality of the paper stock is just not quite what it was for the U.S. issues. So anyway, I enjoyed picking this one up, and I'll like seeing that one in a slab. Hoping again for a 2.5 on that. I got 3 more to go here. Let's pick up the pace, John. 1968, Bob Gibson. This one is, it's in pretty good shape. It's such an important year in baseball history, and his performance that year, 1.12 ERA. I think this card just deserves to be in a slab for that reason alone. And I think I paid $10 or $12 for this card. Yeah, I don't think it was much more than that. At an LCS, wasn't looking for it. Just saw it in the case that day, and picked it up. Hoping for a 4 on it is kind of what I'm aiming for. It's got a little bit of corner wear, not a ton. Presents very well. I mean, it's got a tiny bit of lift right there. So I think that's actually the biggest issue with the card overall. It's off-center bottom actually as well. The name's pretty close to the bottom there. It's also off-center left. Not a ton though, very little actually on that, but more bottom. Nice card though overall, so I would love to see this in a 4. So we'll see what Topps does for me there. Last 2 cards are going into the 70s now. I've been looking forward to getting this one graded since I got it. 1970, Thurman Munson rookie. So the more I've looked at this since I've gotten it, my hopes have been going a little bit down since I've been looking at it more in this. When I first picked this up, I thought this had, it was off-center left. It is off-center left, but I still thought the corners are strong enough that maybe this can really still pull out a 6. I'm not so sure anymore. I'm hoping it can get a 5, and it's actually a hope at this point. If it came back a 4 or 4.5, would not surprise me in the least. There's a little bit of a corner nick there, up on the top right. Minor, but you could see it, even though the corner itself is pretty well intact, but it's got a tiny nick in it. Little tiny nick on the bottom left one as well. Pretty small, though. Still looks great, and it'll be awesome to have in a slab. You can see a little bit more of the wear on the back, actually. There's that corner wear there. It's a little dirty on the edge there. So I'm thinking this actually, I don't think a 5's a stretch. I think it's a good chance, but we'll see. If it comes back a 4, 4.5, won't shock me. Really want it to be a 5 though, and I bought it with hoping it'd be a 6, but I think a 6 might be a tall order on that one. But it'll be great to have it slabbed. And here's the last card of the sub. And actually, I think this card's in the best condition of the bunch, and it's the most recent card. It's also a fairly recent pickup. 1974 Topps Hank Aaron #1. Was not necessarily looking for this again, and it's often a lot of my cards I get that I end up subbing. It's just, I did not have it, and I finally saw it in an LCS and thought, you know what, let's get it today. It's just a really nice example. Corners are good. Centering's pretty good. It's a little left, but the corners are good on this. #1 in the set. Just a kind of a classic card, given that when the issue came out, 74 set came out, first week of the year, he broke the record. I love how they did that when they put it out and saying he's already the home run king before it happened. I would have to think the set came out before opening day, as it usually does today. So, But hoping this can get a 7. If this can get a 7, I'll be really happy about it. And with that, I'm going to wrap up this video and get it just under 20 minutes. Thanks, everybody. I hope to see you in Chicago at the National. Take care.